There's an invisible law that governs the universe, one that most people ignore until it's too late. It's the law of beginnings. Have you ever wondered why the first few minutes of your morning usually dictate the mood of your entire day? Or why the first 10 pages of a book determine if you'll ever finish it? In 2026, this law is going to hit harder than ever. People call it January anxiety, but that's just a symptom. The reality is that beginnings carry authority. What you do in the first 31 days of this year isn't just a trial run. It is a prophetic blueprint. It is a legal permission slip you are signing, allowing certain patterns to dominate your next 12 months. Today, we are breaking down the January mandate. If you feel behind, if you feel anxious, or if you feel like 2026 is already slipping through your fingers, pay attention. We are about to reveal why this month is your highest point of leverage.
Welcome back. If you're new here, we explore the intersection of spiritual law and practical excellence. Today's deep dive is critical. We are standing at the threshold of 2026. Most people approach January with resolution energy, which is fragile and emotional. We are approaching it with covenant energy, which is structural and permanent. By the end of this video, you will understand the 8 laws of January authority that will ensure you aren't just making promises, but establishing a reality. Before we reveal the first law, make sure you're subscribed. 2026 is going to be a year of massive shifts, and our goal is to give you the spiritual and practical tools to stay ahead of the curve. Join the community now.
The biblical law of first fruits. This is the spiritual prime directive. In Romans 11:16, we find a profound metaphysical truth. If the part of the dough offered as first fruits is holy, then the whole batch is holy. If the root is holy, so are the branches. This isn't just ancient poetry, it is a law of spiritual physics. In the kingdom of God, the first has the power to sanctify or sabotage the rest. When you give God the first of your year, the first hour of your morning, the first tenth of your income, the first thoughts of your mind, you are not just doing a good deed, you are consecrating the timeline. By setting the root of January in a place of devotion, discipline, and divine alignment, you are essentially ensuring the remaining 11 months. Think of it like a train track. If the first inch of the rail is set at the correct angle, the train will reach its destination hundreds of miles away. If that first inch is off by just 1 degree, the train will end up in a different state entirely. January is that first inch. This is why you feel a spiritual weight this month. The universe is waiting to see where you will point the track. Most people waste January in a trial and error phase, trying on new habits like cheap clothes. But the wise builder knows that January is for foundational pouring. You don't have to fight for the holiness or the success of October if you have already secured the root in January. If the root is holy, the branches have no choice but to follow. You are planting a success genetic into the very DNA of your 2026. If you plant chaos in the root, you cannot pray for peace in the branches later this summer. Nature does not work that way, and neither does the Spirit. Address the root today, and the year will take care of itself. What you tolerate in January, you validate for the year. There is a subtle, dangerous trap in the first month of the year, the grace of the new start. We often tell ourselves, it's okay if I sleep in today, it's just the first week, or I'll get serious about my diet in February. But in the realm of authority, silence is consent. If you allow a leak to persist in your basement in January, you aren't just dealing with a little water, you are granting that leak a legal right to exist in your home. In the kingdom of God, you cannot inhabit new land until you have driven out the old inhabitants. January is not just for adding good habits, it is for the ruthless eviction of the things that stole your time in 2025. What are you tolerating right now? Is it a toxic conversation style with your spouse? Is it 30 minutes of mindless scrolling before you even speak to the Creator? Is it a small habit of cutting corners at work? In March, these things are just bad habits. In January, these things are seeds. A seed of mediocrity planted in the cold soil of January will become a forest of failure by the heat of August. You must set the set point of your life now. Like a thermostat, once you set the temperature in January, the HVAC system of your spiritual life will work all year to keep it at that temperature. To have a breakthrough year, you must have an eviction month. January is for driving out the things that don't belong in your future. If it's not invited to your December celebration, it shouldn't be tolerated in your January foundation. Take a look at your life and ask, what am I currently allowing that I don't want to be haunted by in 6 months? The moment you stop tolerating it, its authority over your year expires. Vertical alignment. In the rush to be productive, many people focus entirely on their horizontal alignment, their to-do lists, their spreadsheets, and their social standing. But your horizontal success is entirely dependent on your vertical connection. If you are not in sync with the heavens, you are just a well-organized person walking in the wrong direction. Alignment is the difference between effort and flow. Imagine a car with wheels that are out of alignment. You can have a 500 horsepower engine, but if those wheels are pointing in different directions, the car will shake, the tires will wear out prematurely, and you'll expend massive amounts of energy just to keep the vehicle in its lane. This is how most people live their lives. They are hustling, but they are out of alignment with God's specific instruction manual for their 2026. January is the month to get your wheels balanced. This means making sure your soul is in sync with the divine voice before you listen to the voices of the world. In the first month of the year, the noise of the world is deafening. Every advertisement, every social media influencer, and every guru is shouting about what your goals should be. But true authority comes from the secret place. If you are not vertically aligned with God's specific blueprint for you in January, you will spend the rest of 2026 running in directions you were never meant to go. You might even reach the finish line of a goal, only to realize it wasn't your race to run. Effort without alignment is just a slow, expensive way to burn out. Use this month to quiet the horizontal noise and amplify the vertical signal. Ask the Creator, what is the one thing you require of me this year? Once you have that answer, your year gains a momentum that no obstacle can stop. The law of the tongue. We often underestimate the power of sound, but the universe was created by a spoken word. January is the month of decree. It is the time when you function as the prophetic architect of your own life. Proverbs tells us that life and death are held in the power of the tongue. Not just general life and death, but the life or death of your projects, your health, and your peace of mind. In the first month of the year, your words act as prophetic seeds. Every time you say, "I'm so stressed," or "I hope 2026 isn't as bad as last year," you are literally planting a harvest of anxiety into the soil of your future. You are giving your subconscious and the spiritual realm a script to follow. Are you speaking January anxiety into existence by obsessing over what you lack? Or are you decreeing, 2026 is the year of my divine acceleration and supernatural provision? Your year is a servant. It is currently standing at attention, waiting for your orders. If you don't give it orders in January, it will take orders from the news, from the economy, or from your most fearful neighbor. This is the month to move from passive prayer to authoritative decree. Don't just ask God to bless your year. Announce to the year that it is blessed because of the God you serve. Speak to your bank account, speak to your body, and speak to your family dynamics. When you align your vocabulary with your vision, you eliminate the static that causes most people to fail. If your tongue is saying one thing and your heart is wishing for another, you are a double-minded man who shall receive nothing. Use January to harmonize your speech. Speak into 2026 as if it is already listening, because the atoms of your future are currently being shaped by the sound of your voice today. The audit of association. In January, we must realize that we don't just enter a new year, we carry people into it.
The people you spend the most time with in this first month will determine your atmospheric pressure for the entire year. It is a scientific and spiritual fact. You cannot rise above the level of your closest associations. If you are surrounded by 5 people who are anxious about 2026, you will inevitably become the 6th. January is the threshold month, and not everyone is qualified to walk through the door with you. There are people who were seasonal connections for 2025 who are now trying to squat in your 2026. If they haven't grown, if they don't share your vision, or if they constantly pour salt on your seeds, they are a liability to your foundation. This isn't about being mean or unchristian, it's about being a good steward of your environment. Think of a garden. If you don't prune the dead branches in the winter, the plant cannot produce fruit in the summer. Pruning is painful, but it is necessary for life. January is the time to prune your social garden. It is better to walk into February alone, focused and in tune with God's voice, than to walk into it with a crowd that is constantly whispering doubt and distraction into your ear. Your associations provide the context for your growth. If you are a shark in a fish tank, you will stop growing because the environment is too small for your destiny. Find the people who stretch you, who hold you accountable to your January decrees, and who celebrate the authority you are walking in. Your 2026 harvest depends on the purity of the field you are planting in. Keep the field clean. The principle of financial consecration. This is often the most avoided topic in modern self-help, but it is the most practically powerful. In the spiritual economy, how you handle your first paycheck of 2026 sets the frequency for your entire financial year. This is the physical manifestation of the first fruits law. When you prioritize giving, tithing, or sowing into the kingdom in January, you are making a legal declaration that God is your source, not your employer, and not the economy. Money is essentially frozen energy. By taking the first of that energy and returning it to the Creator, you are removing the curse of lack from the remaining 90%. You are telling your money, you are a tool for my purpose, not a master over my soul. Most people spend January recovering from the overspending of December. They enter the year in a deficit mindset, which creates a vortex of debt that lasts until the following Christmas. To break this cycle, you must act in the opposite spirit. Even if it's a sacrifice, your January giving creates a spiritual insurance policy over your finances. It signals to the heavens that you are a trustworthy steward. The Bible says that God gives seed to the sower. If you prove yourself to be a sower in the first month, you ensure a steady supply of seed for the next 11. This isn't just about charity, it's about financial alignment. When you align your treasure with your heart's vision in January, you create a magnetic pull for resources. Doors begin to open, random opportunities appear, and your bushel begins to overflow. You are no longer working for money. Money begins to work for the covenant you've established. Do not let January pass without a significant seed being planted. Establishing the Sabbath rhythm. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive law of January authority. In a world obsessed with the hustle, the person who knows how to rest is the person who holds the most power. Ironically, the best way to win January is not to work 20-hour days. It is to schedule your rest first. High performers and spiritual giants know a secret that the world has forgotten. You don't rest from work, you work from rest. If you don't bake Sabbath and deep rest into your January calendar, you will never find the time for it in June. By the time the pressure of the mid-year hits, you will be a slave to the grind, operating on fumes rather than favor. When you deliberately set aside time for rest in January, you are telling the year 2026, my peace is non-negotiable. This is a command of the soul. It is an act of defiance against a culture that demands constant output. By resting, you are acknowledging that God is the one who sustains you, not your own frantic activity. This creates a rhythm of grace. When you are rested, your discernment is sharp. You can see the snakes in the grass before they bite.
You can hear the still, small voice giving you a billion-dollar idea while your competitors are too exhausted to think clearly. Authority belongs to the person who is in control of their own peace. If you start January burning the candle at both ends, you are giving 2026 permission to burn you out. But if you establish a rhythm of work and rest now, you create a sustainable fire that will carry you all the way to December without flickering. Design your rest architecture today, and the year will respect the boundaries you've set.
Finally, the prayer of command. This is your command center. In the month of January, your prayer life should shift from petitioner to governor. Most people spend their prayer time asking God to please help them with their January problems. But the January mandate calls you to prophetic intercession. This is where you don't just pray about your year, you pray to your year. You are the manager of time under God's delegated authority. In the Spirit, January is the womb where the rest of the year is currently being formed. This is the time to speak to the months as if they were sentient beings, because in a sense, they are territories of time that respond to the Word of God. Speak to your April and tell it, you will be a season of sudden blooming and divine connections. Speak to your July and tell it, you will be a month of refreshing and physical vitality. There will be no mid-year slump in my house. Speak to your October and tell it, you will be a month of completion and harvest. Everything I started in January will be finished in you. This is prophetic architecture. You are drawing the spirit lines that your physical life will have to fill in. When you pray this way, you are prepaying for your peace. You are establishing spiritual border control. You are telling the enemy that there is no vacancy for disaster, divorce, or depression in the 12 months ahead. Don't let January pass without a prayer walk through your entire calendar. Mark the birthdays, the deadlines, and the transitions with the blood of the covenant. When you occupy your year in January through the prayer of command, you won't have to fight for your territory in November. You've already won the war before the first battle even began. Your year is listening. What will you tell it? January 2026 is not just 31 days. It is the womb of the year. What you conceive now, you will birth later. Stop fearing the future and start framing it. You have the authority. You have the tools. Now, go and lay a foundation that nothing can shake. If this video changed your perspective, share it with one person you want to see succeed in 2026. Watch this next video on the law of momentum to keep your January fire burning. Subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.